Hi, I'm Rusty from the Rusty Harden studio in Tipp City, Ohio, and welcome. Today we're going to create a doodle with the owl, and I want to mention that I'm using Bristol smooth paper. It's my favorite because it's so smooth, and my favorite pen to work with is the Uniball Signo Micro 207. It's waterproof and fade proof, but just use whatever you have. I would even use an envelope just to create it on, and I do frequently. I like how smooth envelopes are. So it's not about what you have, it's just about relaxing, enjoying the sketch, and breathing. That's what we're all about here. So I like to say that when you can see a shape and relate to a shape, you can draw anything. So with the owl today, I'm going to point out a couple shapes. For example, the head basically started out as a rectangle. The body's an oval. The leaf shapes are tapered ovals. The wings on the butterfly are basically triangles. So I'm going to show you how I see those, and then we're just going to roll. So I'm going to sketch and demonstrate on index cards. From there, then I'm going to put it on my paper. So, this is just supposed to be fun. We're not striving for perfection. Perfection is overrated. We just want to enjoy this. So, you enjoy. Okay, well, let me get started with the owl first. I'm going to do the owl that way I'll know where to place everything else. So, the owl's head is basically a rectangle. There we go. Then I've rounded off the corners, right? And there, that leaves me with the owl's head. So I'm gonna do it this way without doing all the corners on the triangle first. There we go. Doesn't even have to be like perfectly even on all the sides. It's a doodle. I'll keep reminding you of that. So I like how rounded this is. I'm going to put a few little triangles for the ears. Right here, I made zigzag lines. The body is an oval. I'm kind of sketchy. I keep my lines light. I don't hold my writing utensil, pen, crayon, marker, pencil, whatever it is. I don't hold it really tight. That way I don't get the tension in my body, because this is supposed to relax my mind. So the wings I'm going to bring over here to the side. Now I'm going to put the branch in there, and we're going to have these feet. The feet are this is a tapered oval. And what I mean by that is, so this is an oval. If I bring the end of the one oval to a point, I have what I call a tapered oval. Sometimes it's called petal shape, depends on the context. If I put this tapered oval upside down, I have his little feet. There we go. So there we basically have the body and the head of the owl. So I'm going to take this concept and put it over here. I'm going to start right here. There we go. Right here. And I'm being loose and sketchy with my pen lines when I start out, just barely touching my paper, because I want to be able to make adjustments if I need to without having to overcome hard lines. Just kind of round it off my rectangle here. I'm going to leave this little part, some little jaggedy lines. I don't know, let's just call it his chin. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Very good. I'm going to put some ears, which are triangle shape, up here. And I'm going to walk you through the actual doodle lines for the whole owl before we move on to the flowers and stuff around it. Still staying sketchy. I'm going to put in his body, which is an oval. Yeah. Now you can just take a pencil and do this, and if you want to come back in with a pen later, you can. There's no rules to how you enjoy it. Now I have wings. I'm going to go ahead, since I have the body here now, I can make this swoopy line for the branch, and I'll know where to put the feet now. Okay, so here's those tapered ovals I talked about. I got 3. Remember that shape because they make good petal shapes for flowers too. We'll talk about them again, probably in other doodles. All right, I feel great about this. Sorry about that. So now I'm going to go over my lines and make them more significant because, of course, I was sketchy first. So how about this? I just want to clean up this line just a little bit, but I don't want to make it real heavy. So I'm going to put circles on this line. It's a doodle. So I make these marks. And just when I get here, I'm going to be zigzaggy. There we go. So I make marks. My mark making is often relatable shapes. Like here's circles, and I'll use circles a lot. But I'll use X's and letters like other letters like S and L and M's, and maybe that's an M. I don't know. So I'm going to make some lines straight across the ears. I'm going to make some dashes that go this way. That's other things I do, dashes, cross hatching. You'll see it as I go. I'll just mention what the shapes are as I use them in all my videos. There we go. So now I'm going to put some ovals, the bottom of those ears. Oval, 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 oval. Let's go ahead and put the eyes in. The eyes are really pretty big. So I want to make a pretty nice size circle for his eyes. There we go. Circles are not my strong suit. I struggle to make circles, really round circles, but I will rise to the challenge and never give up. Sometimes I use something to make circles with, but I'm okay with the owl. So I have the basic circles for the eyes here. I want to do this. I want to do the beak. Now you might notice, speaking of shapes, that beak is really a long heart. Look at that. Now the thing is, I'm not going to draw that part. So here we go. So here's my beak. And then I made a little shape on top of it. If I turned it upside down, it would look like spades for cards, doesn't it? Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna start right here, maybe. Looks good. It's going to be like a heart shape, but I don't want to make the point there in the middle. Oh, there we go. Then I came up and made a little stem on it. I'm going to put little nostrils in that, maybe oval shapes. I'm going to come around this kind of heavy like with my pen. I'm going to come all the way around the beak with heavy marks. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. I made like little hair, so I'm making little dashes. I'm going to make a curly line for an eyebrow and a curving line for an eyebrow. And I'm going to put dashes on it all the way around. And I am gonna put a little heart right here in the forehead. Why? It's a doodle and it makes me happy. So there we go. Now the top of his head, I just made lines, goes back and forth. Felt like it needed something. Under the eye, I made a little V and a V. And then between the beak and that little V, I had circles, but start with smaller ones and came around and made them a little bit bigger. Smaller, came around and made them a little bit bigger. It is so cute. Okay, I'm gonna put a mark here, kind of an oval, and I'm gonna fill in the eyeball all the way around, but I want to keep that oval white. I always make them bigger than I think they need to be because I'm never quite right if I think I'm being exact, and because I'm filling it in all the way around, I can always make it smaller. But I'm just filling it in, filling it in, filling it in. Doesn't take too long, does it? And I think I'll come back and fill it in a little bit better. So, yeah, I can make this a little bit smaller and be effective. So now I'm going to come over and do this one. And let's see, we're going to fill it in and fill it in. And where I've been sketching, I might have a few extra little lines around it. It's okay. It just makes it interesting because it is a doodle. And I'm gonna just rough fill this in. That way you can see it, but I'll come back in and fill it in more solid. That way you can move on with more of the doodles, but yeah. I'll come in and fill it in just a little bit better shortly. He's so cute. So for his, let me go over this line a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to repeat the zigzags. So for the feathers on his belly, just make these lines a little bit stronger. I made V's. And then I gave little wings to the V's. So I have a V and a wings. V, wings, V, wings. I did a couple places, and I don't know why I made squares and I put X's in them. It's a doodle, and I think to have a variety of textures and shapes, just make it interesting. So I think I'll do one down here and another one over here. I'll come over these, make the lines a little heavier. Get little V's with wings. Make perfect owl belly texture. There we go. The wings are curvy lines that I love, connecting curvy lines. So I will fill in a shape. Let me just use this beak shape for an example. So I will fill in a shape. I'll start making a curvy line, and then I will just kind of repeat that pattern to attach it to something, and then I'll make another curvy line and go back and forth over it. For me, this is my favorite way to fill in doodles. I love the variety. I love the way the pen flows, and my brain just loves it. So I have to even stop doing the demo. So stop doing the demo, Rusty, and get it over on the wings. So that's how I filled in these wings. And they're kind of perfect for the wings because the wings should represent something kind of flowy. Here we go. I don't do the repetitive patterns type doodles like the Zentangles. They're beautiful and they're amazing. And if that's something that you love to do, then by all means use the skills and the talents you have for other things that work for the doodles. You just get to be completely you, and you know, you do it the way you enjoy it. I'm not good at repetitive patterns. I think my brain forgets to pay attention and make things even. So I'll be me, and this is what I enjoy. If you have completely different ideas for wing doodles, by all means. Okay, I'm not going to come and do the other side since I've demoed this side, but I'll come back and do that in a little while. All right, I go over the feet several times. I want to start working on the stick that the owl is on. So let's just go ahead and move up to that. Oh, I forgot. Let me add a couple lines in here. Now they look more complete. Gotta watch me every minute. Okay. So now I'm going to come and give a parallel line for this stick, the branch that the owl's on. Let's add some of the flowers that I have on here. So here I just have a swooshy line, and I mentioned maybe triangle shapes for some of the flowers. This is a triangle shape, and I mentioned the petal or the wings for this butterfly is also triangle shape. What I mean by that is that, so here's the stem. So here I have a triangle and triangle, but I'm going to round off those triangle corners. So there's my triangle, but I rounded off the corners. There we go. And it makes a great, interesting flower doodle. So I'm going to make this a little higher. So I have one triangle flower with rounded off corners and the other. I'm going to go over my line a couple times. I'll put a zigzag for the stem, put a couple lines in the petals, and then I'm going to surround that flower with half circles all the way around it. Half circles all the way around it. Easiest flowers you'll ever make. Well, that might not be true. We might have easier ones. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. The stick that the branch that the owl is on, I filled those literally with the number 8. S's would be good. Yeah, definitely S's would work for this. So I just filling them in all the way across. They make for a really interesting pattern. And if I have too much space in between them, I'll just go back and put the letter or the number 8 right in there. Look at that. Just run it right off the edge of the branch. And I'm going to do it over on this side. I'm getting kind of fast at them. I use the number 8 for a lot of spaces like this. Here we go. Then I just allow that trail off. So also on this branch, I'm going to make a little swooshy line here for this flower. Talked earlier about the tapered ovals. Well, if you have an oval and you bring both ends to a point, you have this leaf shape. There we go. And these leaves are basically that leaf shape. I'm just going to swing out and make it a little more dramatic. So right here, I'm going to make this shape, and I'm going to come up here. So inside the leaf, I made this line zigzaggy. And I brought some little lines just on the inside. Little marks, little lines make it all interesting. I put a narrow oval, tiny, tiny little oval on the top. Let's go ahead and do this butterfly while I'm here. So this little butterfly sitting on it is also 2 triangles. I'm going to round off that triangle. There's 1, and here's 2. So right here I have this rounded off triangle and a rounded off triangle. I'm going to give him his little antenna. Now I'm just going to give curvy lines to his wings. There's my little butterfly on that leaf. Still working on the off of the branch. I have another leaf like this one coming down this way. I'm going to make this tapered oval. It's tapered on both ends for a leaf shape. Got a little pointy oval at the end. Brought the lines in. And this part of the leaf I made zigzag lines. These curvy lines are fun. I associate the letter J with it. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to swing down. I'm going to swing this back up like a letter J. Then I'm going to put a little curl on the end of it. And that's what I'm going to do here. And what I'm going to do here. Then I put little half ovals hanging down. Kind of like to think of them as looking like either water drops or jewels. I'm going to make my lines a little heavier over it. Fancy, fancy. Speaking of fancy, I got a really fancy one over here. It's basically the same. I'm going to think in terms of a J. So I'm going to come down with my line. And I'm going to curl up like a J. I'm going to swing on around. Put one up here. I'm going to go backwards here and backwards there. So here I'm going to add a little half oval, half oval, half oval. I'm going to go over the lines a little bit, make them more significant. This one, I'm going to add a thin line coming down. Stop with a bead on it or a filled in circle, a little bit more of a thin line. I'm going to put a heart on it, and I'm going to bring another line down. I'm going to add a triangle here, and I'm going to add another triangle underneath it with a little space in between it, just to make it look a little interesting little dangle, right? I'm going to move up to the flowers that's up here. I'm going to pull this down a little bit so you can see it clearly for me to draw. So I'm going to make a swishy line for the stem. I'm going to use these same leaf shapes that I have down here. So I'm going to make a leaf shape and a leaf shape. Now I'm not going to be able to see the bottom of these guys, but I'm going to build on it. So where it stops, that's where I stop. I have one on this side, another on that side, and I'm going to put one in the center. I'm going to go over my lines, make them a little more significant. I'm going to put a line in the center and put a little filled in circle. Here we go. So out of those lines, I'm going to make a little sweepy line and 2 little ovals. Sweepy line, 2 little ovals. Sweepy line, 2 little ovals, and 1 more there. Okay. So I'm going to make this little backwards J right here. Here's my J, and I'm going to bring the curl around. I'm going to fill it in a circle, fill it in like a bead, And I'm going to make just little dashes that are larger to smaller right there. Let's go ahead and talk about these little bug guys. So this petal shape, this is a petal shape. That's an oval that's tapered on one end. So for my little bugs I have flying around, sometimes I call it a loop when it's my bugs. So I'm going to make this little loop and this little loop. I think it looks like shoelaces when they're being tied. And I'm going to give them 3 little legs. So I'm going to use this petal shape, petal shape, petal shape, 3 little legs. So he's going here, petal shape, 3 little legs. Petal shape, 3 little legs. And I'm going to put another one over here. I really like this. I'll probably come over here in a little while, maybe even after we're gone, and go over some of these lines and just make them a little heavier. I just like the variety of thin lines and heavy lines. There we go. So let me see. We have 2 elements left. We have this butterfly, and we have the flower that's down there. So since we're up here, let's go ahead and do this butterfly. Again, we're going to look at triangle shapes for wings, but I'm going to start with the body here. I'm going to make kind of a curvy line like this. Then I'm going to follow that and attach it together like that. So this is what I decided the butterfly body is. I'm going to do this again. So it's like, so I'm going to make this kind of wavy line. I'm going to follow it. Boom. I'm going to fill it with circles. Kind of remind me of like peas in a pod, actually, after I had it all finished. Doesn't remind you of peas in a pod. So anyway, circle, circle, circle. I'm going to add a triangle here, a triangle here, a triangle here, and a triangle here. So that's going to be my butterfly wings. So I'm going to round them off. And it's a doodle, so I don't try to make anybody perfect. There we go. So I'm going to go with that right onto the paper now. So I'm going to make this kind of curvy line, and I'm going to match it so it comes up like this. I'm going to put circles in it. So now I'm going to round off my triangle here. Make another triangle here, round it off. Make another triangle, rounded corners over here, and another one, rounded corners over here. Going to give them a little antenna, and we're happy. I'm going to go over this line a little bit. I'm going to make just some interesting marks in the wings. A circle there. I'm going to follow some dashes along the inside. I'm going to go over the outside of the wings. There we go. So going along this wing with heavier lines, and on the inside all I did was follow along the inside of my butterfly with some dashes. And the letter 8 right here, or the number, I don't know why I keep calling it 8. Sorry about that, guys. I really thought I had that on mute. My bad. Okay, we won't let that happen again. And I'm not about to begin the whole video to cut that out. So we're just going to kind of live with that thing happening, right? There we go. There we go. Turn that off. Sorry. Okay. I'm not restarting a whole doodle video. Cut that out. It's not very professional of me, but hey, time is time. And life is life. And things pop up in it, right? There we go. Oh, back. So I just put the number 8 there in the corners. So now I'm going to put dashes along this side. And I've got this little filled in area here. Put circle here, dash, 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 dash. And I'm going to go over these a little heavier. There we go. So let's talk about the flower we have at the bottom. Then we're just going to celebrate our whole owl doodle for the day. Maybe make a few adjustments. So we've talked about this leaf shape. So I'm going to make a stem up. I'm going to put this leaf shape right up here. I feel very fond of this flower. On the top of it, I made a dot, a bigger dot, and then made them smaller. So I made kind of a bloomin', I want to say round, but I ended up kind of tapering the round part a little bit. So I have these two shapes where these meet, and I'm going to make a line that comes up. I'm going to put circles on the end of them, circles with dots. I'm going to make a couple petal lines here. I'm going to make a sweeping line up here and here. And I'm going to use dots, and I'm going to try to place them in such a way that it suggests a flower. So I start a little wider down at the bottom. They end up making a triangle, a long narrow triangle shape with no lines on the outside, just like they're filled with dots. If you can relate to a shape, you can draw anything. So here's a curly Q and another curly Q. Going over these lines a little bit. I have to go over this line again. So I'm going to have a quick look over the whole doodle. I'm pretty happy with all of it. I need to do this wing yet, and I'm going to do that. But so I'll do that, and then I'll be ready to go for the day. So I thank you so much for spending your time with me today to do the owl doodle. I have online art classes through Eventbrite.com. I put the link in the description, and some of my contact information. Follow me on Facebook. I love sharing what it is that we do. I have a Facebook page called Artful Doodles. If you look for Artful Doodles on Facebook, if you want to share your images that you've created, do that, and then I will then, when you share them, then I will have to come back and actually put them on the post. But do that. I check it often, and I love going ahead and transferring everybody's images onto it. So you do that, and then I'll put it on my Facebook page. So I love the owl, and I thank you so much for joining me, and I'll look forward to you coming back. Thank you.